So Brad Holmes talked today. The question is, where is Za'Darius Smith?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We have a Thursday edition, everybody, of Locked On Lions for you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Matt Derry. Welcome in. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you to those of you that watch us every single day, our everydayers, on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. If you are new to YouTube or you only listen, you don't watch, check us out on the YouTube channel and subscribe, please, to the program. Lions GM Brad Holmes and Assistant General Manager Ray Agnew spoke to the media today. We'll have a full recap on that, some highlights from Holmes, some interesting comments about the roster. We'll talk about Za'Darius Smith. I think there's a guy in the edge room that we're not talking about that they're going to put out there. I'll explain that coming up momentarily. Also, we will have a call of the day today. If you want to be our call of the day and join the show, leave a voicemail at www.speakpipe.com/Derry, D-E-R-Y podcast page. That is speakpipe.com/Derry podcast page. James from out of state is going to be played later on in the program. Today's episode is sponsored by PrizePicks. Yes, PrizePicks is back. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Don't forget, we are on TikTok at Locked On Lions. We are on Instagram at Locked On Lions as well. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. Got a little high school football tonight. I'm going to be over at Macomb, Dakota on the prep, calling the Dakota and Brother Rice game with Ben Holden tonight. So it should be a lot of fun. High school football back in the area and all the football back. We got college games this weekend as well. Bryce Underwood, of course, going after his September Heisman as the Michigan Wolverines take on New Mexico. Hey, and tailgating is back at Munn Field at Michigan State. Thank goodness. Talk about something that should have been brought back a long time ago. All right. The question is out there, right? Everybody wants to know. It's August 28th. You figured by now, free agent defensive end Za'Darius Smith would be in Detroit. You figured by now that after releasing him after last season for salary cap purposes, that there'd be a one-year deal in place, less money. He's not going to be making $10, $11 million a year like he has in the past. And that the Lions would just bite the bullet, suck it up, and get Za'Darius Smith back in here, because you look at the Lions edge rushing room right now, and you see that basically you've got Aiden Hutchinson, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Marcus Davenport, and Tyrus Wheat, who they just picked up off of the waiver wire from Dallas. And that's it. That's your edge room, at least for right now. Other guys are on the practice squad, as we know, including Isaac Ukwu. Nate Lynn is not on the practice squad as of yet. And I know that the Lions have some versatile players. A guy like Pat O'Connor could move to an edge spot. Josh Paschal will be back hopefully soon. He's on the non-football injury list at this time, but hopefully he'll be back by week 2 or 3. So Za'Darius Smith, who was a fine player for the Lions last year, was he as good as they thought he was going to be when they picked him up from Cleveland at the trade deadline? No, but got in there, is a veteran, can get to the quarterback, and can play. Today, Lions general manager Brad Holmes spoke to the media. Like I said, the Lions currently, right now, have a 52-man roster. I made the mistake yesterday of saying, well, the roster was at 50 and they added 3. They did add 3, but with the trading of Tim Patrick to Jacksonville for a 6th-round pick, the Lions roster was at 49, plus 3 makes 52. So as of right now, as I'm recording here on Thursday at 4:20, happy 4:20, Lions roster sits at 52 players. They have a spot for one guy. Brad Holmes didn't shut the door on the possibility of adding Za'Darius Smith, but said, quote, "You guys know me. Anything is possible. At any point, I don't know what's going to happen would just have one open roster spot. It's not for a specific player. It's for the player that makes the most sense for us, whoever that player may be. We went into last year, I think, with 52, which just gives us some flexibility. It's not just about that player, end quote. Later on, a few questions later, after he really didn't mention Za'Darius Smith, Holmes was asked if they've talked. And he said, quote, not recently, no, end quote. This is stupid. Come on. I don't want to be that guy and tell you that the Lions need to pick up Za'Darius Smith because he's the next coming of Bruce Smith or Reggie White or Robert Porcher for that matter. All right. Za'Darius Smith is a declining veteran. He's not what he was. He's never been a great player. But at 32 years of age, can we just get him in here? What's he ask? Is the asking price too high? Is he refusing to be anywhere until like Tuesday or Wednesday before the first game? Does he really not want to come to any camps? Does he? The report out there from Jeremy Fowler at ESPN the other day was that a bevy of contenders have contacted him. So today, as of Thursday, he's still a free agent. I don't understand. This one I don't get. I have not heard from anybody that he was a locker room problem. I didn't hear from anybody that there was a major beef with him. It was contractually related as to why the Lions got out from underneath his contract to save money this past spring. But we're sitting here on August 28th, and I'm telling you, I have concerns about the edge room, especially with the injuries that Marcus Davenport seems to sustain every year. And I would figure that the Lions would have added Smith by now. I was patient about it in July. I was patient about it early August. I said, this guy's not coming to training camp or the preseason. But as we sit here now, this weekend will be a week away from the start of the season. Let's get this guy in here. I don't know how you feel about it. You can hit me up on social media or our YouTube comments. I think it's time to bite the bullet and pay him. The Lions have a ton of money under the cap. They have salary cap space to add him. And I know also they would love to restructure Aiden Hutchinson's contract and sign him long-term. I know they've had conversations with Alex Anzalone. They restructured his deal for this year a little bit, but not much. What are they waiting for? I think it is time to make that move. You have an open roster spot. I think it's, he played half a season for the Lions last year. He had 36 pressures and 4 sacks. Right now, there's 4 edge rushers on the team, and that's it. Ray Agnew was asked about the newest Lion, Tyrus Wheat, formerly of the Cowboys, and the assistant GM said today, quote, he's got some edge rush ability. He'll be a good depth. He'll be a good depth piece at the defensive end position and help out in pass rush and run play, end quote. So they're going Tyrus Wheat before they go with Za'Darius Smith. I don't know what else to say about it. I think it's a little strange. Again, Josh Paschal is coming back soon. Maybe they're going to go into Green Bay with a smallish edge room, and then they'll deal with it when Paschal gets here and everything else. And Paschal, of course, kind of plays inside and outside. But I'm signing up now to get Za'Darius back. I don't know what his status is other than the last time I saw him on social media. He was on vacation somewhere warm in a hot tub, and apparently he and Cash Doll are back together. I want he and the Lions to be back together. I like Al-Qadim Muhammad. I think if healthy, Marcus Davenport's going to be good. Everybody loves Aiden Hutchinson. Who doesn't? Tyrus Wheat, couldn't tell you. So I will have a name for you later in the show of somebody that I think you're going to see Sunday, September 7th at 425, lining up a lot at edge rusher and rushing the passer. I will give you that name later on. Coming up next, though, Brad Holmes did talk about the open roster spot and what the standard is for it. Does he sound a little cocky? You tell me. We'll do that coming up next. And as we told you earlier, Locked On Lions brought to you by PrizePicks. It's back. The daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is done. We are past it. We're getting ready for the NFL. Regular season college football is here. Whether you've got your eye on big name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, PrizePicks makes it easy to get in the game. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. All right. I've got friends that use PrizePicks the last few years. They love how simple it is. You can get a lineup in before your coffee in the morning on Saturday for college football finishes brewing. Also, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, run your game. Matt Derry back with you on Locked On Lions Thursday edition. If you missed Ross Tucker from yesterday, Ross Tucker Football Podcast, NFL on CBS, Westwood One, former NFL offensive lineman. Ross is great. We're mad at Ross, though. Ross picked the Packers to win the division, but he was great on the show yesterday. Go back and watch it or listen to it if you missed yesterday's program with Ross. We're going to chase down Trey Wingo next week and a few other special guests. And yes, next Thursday, Locked On Crossover, the first Thursday crossover of the year, the most hated man in Detroit sports, the one and only, the king of the trolls, Packer Pete, Peter Bukowski, host of Locked On Packers, will join us next Thursday. I can 100% guarantee that at the end of the crossover Thursday next week, Pete will pick the Packers to win. That is 100%. And the Locked On NFL NFC North show, preview show, should be out tonight at 7 Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. And I believe it'll be on my page as well. Myself, Peter Bukowski, Luke Braun, Locked On Vikings, Lauren Cox, Locked On Bears, Touchdown Bears. We have been together, the four of us, for the last 7-8 years. It's been pretty cool to be with those guys every year. Okay, more from Brad Holmes today. In discussing the roster and why it is currently sitting at 52 players and not 53 players, Brad Holmes said that there is a standard with this roster and that they're not just going to pick up any players. They want the guys that are the right fit to be on this team. And so that is why right now, today, they still have one more spot to fill. And Brad Holmes says they're not going to be willy-nilly about it. They're not going to just grab a guy to grab a guy. He said that this team has a standard when it comes to being on the roster and doesn't want an undeserving player on the roster, just to fill a quota. Why not the best 53, Holmes said today? Well, if you only have 50 that we deemed as the standards of making it, then you've got to look elsewhere. So that's the approach that we did, end quote, and why they only had 50 players at the beginning. So the Lions have gone from a complete and utter circus and chaos to a franchise now whose general manager said there is a certain standard that you have to live up to be on the active roster. I don't know whether to go, yes, Brad, you're the best GM we've ever had, preach, or go, we haven't made the Super Bowl yet, bro. Like, can you simmer down a little bit with, we have a standard here in Detroit. I don't know. I'm a little bit torn on it. And tomorrow I'm going to give you names of 3 players that I think could be first-time Pro Bowlers with this Lions team. Remember the days when the Lions never had a Pro Bowler? They've had like 7, 8, or 9 different guys the last handful of years. So while Brad Holmes has done a fantastic job, you can't argue that. The fact that he's hanging on to one roster spot and just saying, nope, it's got to be somebody that fits the standard is certainly an intriguing concept here. Holmes was asked today about letting go of Hendon Hooker and Broderick Martin. Quote, I think all you can do is put all the work in and feel good when you take the player. Look, I think there's risk involved with every single pick that you do. End quote. That is talking about taking both those guys in the third round, and now both are gone. All right. He wishes them well, for sure. As far as the Tim Patrick trade, I said yesterday, Brad Holmes is letting Tim Patrick go because they've got Isaac Tisla, and they love Tisla and what he brings to the table. And I've talked to people inside the building that have said they love this kid. Holmes wasn't ready today to just admit that that was the reason for the deal. Quote, first of all, outstanding individual. I mean, you're talking about a pro's pro in Patrick, everything that we were about. I think everything, him coming in last year, going on the practice squad, earning a spot on the roster. Tim is awesome. I wish him the best. But then he said the perception is that the trade was facilitated by Tisla. Holmes said, hold on a second. Quote, yes, it may open up some more opportunities for him, but I think you've got to still keep in perspective that Isaac's a rookie, a young player. He's had a good training camp, a good preseason, but we'll just see how it goes. End quote. Holmes is not ready publicly to crown Isaac Tisla. Matt Derry is. I'm ready to crown him and say this kid has to be on the field. This wasn't just preseason against third and fourth stringers. This was joint practice. This was in practice. This was going up against some pretty good corners on his own team and performing. And the kid catches everything. So, I mean, to me, you've got an open roster spot now. You only have 5 receivers on the roster as of now because Dominic Lovett is still there. You've got Meeks on the practice squad. You've got Kennedy on the practice squad. You can't tell me that Tisla has not been given an opportunity. And this is what the Lions were thinking. I think that's what Brad's going with. I just don't think he wants to overinflate a rookie's ego. Many fans are worried about Ahmed Hassanin, the injury settlement, and he went on waivers. Today, Holmes confirmed that Ahmed Hassanin is going to be on the Lions. Quote, there were multiple avenues that we could have went with that one. What we wanted to do was going to be to give him the best path for him to get back on the practice field when he's healthy. The injury settlement was the way to go, especially him specifically with where he was in his football career. Bottom line, he's going to be a Detroit Lion. He's going to be back in the football field playing this year. So he will be here, end quote. That is from Brad Holmes. So those are just some of the highlights from today. I love that news on Hassanin. I love that kid's motor. I love how excited he was to be here. And with an injury settlement, he was not claimed off waivers, so no other team wanted him. All right, so now he sits there and gets paid by the Lions as an injury settlement, and then when he gets healthy, they put him back on the active roster. Yes, another team could be after him, I guess, but I think he and the Lions, they got a handshake deal that he's going to remain here. The Lions are the ones that drafted him and are giving him this opportunity. All right, I'm going to give you a name of somebody that is not on the list. When you look at edge rushers, you could go to the Our Lads depth chart, the Lions depth chart on the website, ESPN.com's depth chart, Pride of Detroit, wherever you want to go. All right, I'll pick Our Lads, for example. Their depth chart has left defensive end, Hutchinson, Muhammad, right defensive end, Davenport, Tyrus, Wheat. Right, I'm well aware that guys can switch and play outside as well, such as when he's back healthy, Josh Paschal, Pat O'Connor, and even a guy like Tyler Lacey, who they picked up from Jacksonville. But there is one guy that I think you're going to see rushing the passer that we saw do it a little bit last year too, and that is number 53, Trevor Nowaske. Nowaske is on the roster. He's an excellent special teamer, special teams player, local kid, everything else. I think there's going to be more chatter and more opportunity in Green Bay for number 53 to be lined up on an edge opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. I'm not saying I think Trevor Nowaske is chock full of moves or the second coming of, like I said earlier, Bruce Smith, okay, or Myles Garrett, but I think when we talk about edges and we say, there's only 2 edge rushers on the other side of Hutchinson, and there's only this, there's only that. I think Nowaske will be rushing the passer more than we think right now. All right, when we come back, call of the day. Big game James from out of state checked in. We will play James's call and react to it coming up next, right here on a Thursday edition of Locked On Lions. And today, right here on Locked On Lions, on this a Thursday, we are brought to you by our friends at Rugiet. All right, guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours. You can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. All right? I love that it's completely online. Rugiet connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code LockedOnNFL to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL. Get that promo code LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by FanDuel. NFL season is almost here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. College football this weekend, you got to get on FanDuel, right? Come on. You love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live action as the game unfolds. Quick, easy, best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, it's been a little bit. One of our everydayers checking in with us. It is our call of the day where you, the listeners, get an opportunity to be on the program. Let's listen to James calling from California.
Hey, Matt, calling from Berkeley, California, where Jared Goff went to play college ball. So whenever Jared Goff would play bad football a couple of years ago, you would have to get on the podcast and calm down the mob who wanted Jared Goff to be replaced by Hendon Hooker. Do you now feel vindicated? Second question, which is sort of related. Do you think the coaches brought in Kyle Allen thinking that it might have been possible for him to beat out Hendon Hooker? Or do you think that they are pleasantly surprised that they beat out Hendon Hooker and they found their second QB in Kyle Allen? Thanks. Love the show.
Thank you, James Lai, L-Y, calling from out in Berkeley, California. Yes, the home of Jared Goff. Also, was the home of Aaron Rodgers, who played at Cal as well. The Cal-Stanford band game. Come on, doesn't get much better than that. And the former voice of the Cal Bears, Roxy Bernstein. I'm running out of Cal stuff. Jason Kidd, he was from Cal. Kevin Johnson. All right, anyway, two-part question from James. Number one, do I feel vindicated that I was telling fans to pump the brakes on Hendon Hooker and that Jared Goff is the quarterback? No, I don't feel vindicated. I wasn't a huge Goff fan his first year here. He did not look good. And I was like, man, they need to draft somebody to just push him. And I think the drafting of Hendon Hooker, I like the idea of it. It just was the wrong guy. And Hendon Hooker hopefully will go on the Carolina Panthers practice squad and work with Dave Canellis and everybody down there and maybe one day become an NFL quarterback. He's not right now. He's not. And it's a pretty big indictment on him that he can't even be on an active roster. So no vindication, just I understood what Brad Holmes was doing. I hated the Broderick Martin pick more than the Hendon Hooker pick. Number two, second part question was he asked about Kyle Allen. And Do I think they brought Kyle Allen in to push Hendon Hooker and make him better? Or was this Kyle Allen was always going to be the backup? No, I think they had a healthy competition. I think they figured, let's find the right fit that's a veteran backup that has started some games in the league, fits the system, all right, behind John Morton, not going to upset the apple cart, really good in the locker room, and that's everything that Kyle Allen has been. And to be quite honest with you, as somebody that told you when they signed him, Kyle Allen sucks. I said that. He has looked, and again, it's preseason, but he has looked a lot better than I thought. He seems to have a good pocket presence. There's confidence in his throws. Doesn't have a great arm, all right? And his pick six that he threw in the Hall of Fame game was not good, or the near pick six. That was a terrible throw. Hash mark to the far side, terrible. But after that, he really settled in and did a good job. I think the Lions brought him in and said, we've got to give Hendon Hooker some sort of competition, because a year ago, Hooker did not perform in practice, and the Lions had to go out and get Teddy Bridgewater. They also got Teddy Bridgewater back last year because he was a fantastic mentor for Jamison Williams. So let me tell you something. J-Mo's interview with Brad Galley on Channel 7, if you've not watched this, please check out, go on to social media or Google Brad Galley, Jamison Williams. It's a really good interview. J-Mo's growing up. He's maturing. All right. And while I've been harsh on him on this show for doing immature things and being suspended and letting down his team, this is a really good interview. And he seems like a kid that, because of Dan Campbell, because of Teddy Bridgewater, is growing up a little bit and knows that he has a responsibility here as a very good player. So this is a really good interview. All right. Thank you, James, for chiming in. We'll do another call of the day tomorrow. So if you want to chime in and be on the show, send those voicemails at speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. We're back again for a Friday Locked On Lions, and next week, first week of the season. Thank God.